All right, good morning, guys. I apologize for being a little bit late to the action here. I did not post a video for week 4. I apologize. I lost track of the time for that and forgot that I hadn't made a video. But we are in the middle of week 5 of the virtual run, virtual race. And so this is going from this past Monday, July 6th, all the way through this next Sunday. So I wanted to go through the activities for groups 4 and 5 first, and then work up to group 1. So just a reminder for that. But we're getting into the extremely hot time of the year for a lot of your guys' runs. And for those of you guys who maybe haven't been getting out before 10 a.m., this is kind of the time of the year where you really want to try and be smart about when you're running. And it's not always going to work out that you're going to get out before it gets really warm out. But really, even by about 8 or 9 a.m., things are getting warm enough where you're going to start to really feel more tired than you would if you can get out for an earlier run. So I really encourage you guys to try and maybe set your alarm a little bit earlier than you're comfortable with. When we have our cross-country camp in a couple weeks, you're going to be getting out a little bit earlier than you maybe otherwise would have for the runs. So really try to start working on that, and it will help you to start feeling better. Hopefully, after a few consistent weeks of training, you're starting to feel the positive effects of what some consistent running can do. If you haven't started feeling it yet, don't worry. The nice part about summer training is when you get into the fall season, things really start to add up for you faster, and especially as the weather starts to cool off. So for week 5, for groups 4 and 5, you guys have about 20 miles this week if you follow this schedule. And the mileage for your Monday run is getting a little bit longer. So 5 miles of long, slow distance. Remember, this is the goal with the long, slow distance days is to start pushing the edge of how many miles you can do in a continuous run. And still try and keep working on making that run continuous. So I know Monday has already happened, but maybe if you didn't get your long run in on Monday, maybe try and do it on Thursday, tomorrow, this week, or maybe even move it to Sunday. So really try and get one run where you maybe push the mileage a little bit more without the focus on really going faster. It's more just about getting the mileage in. So that's for Monday for you guys if you didn't already do that. Tuesday was a 3-mile aerobic day. So today, once again, if you haven't done this already this morning, maybe wait until it cools off a little bit this evening. You have a 2-mile tempo run with a mile of warming up and a mile of cooling down afterward. Really make sure you do the mile of warm up before, and the mile of cool down helps you to recover as well. But it's really important to get the mile of warm up in beforehand. I know it's hot. But that's all the more reason to let your body acclimate to the heat a little bit more, and then start out on that tempo pace. For those of you guys who aren't familiar as much with tempos, a tempo run, virtually what that is a faster pace. It's faster than you would run at an aerobic pace, and you're trying to push your body not like you would in a race, but you're trying to push your body to be out of breath, to be kind of closer to that race pace that those of you guys who are familiar with racing a 5K, you want to be running pretty fast for a tempo run, and that's going to push what we call your anaerobic threshold so that you can become a faster runner. If you've maybe done a mile or a 2-mile run for soccer, it's kind of something similar to that, where we want you to be pushing yourself for that. And that's for 2 miles. So try and do that continuously, and then make sure to get a little bit of a cool down in afterward. Thursday is an off day, or if you already took an off day earlier in the week, then substitute in a small run or some cross training then. 4 miles on Friday. The Saturday workout is a mile of warm up, and then this is a kind of like a fartlek workout or an interval workout where you have 3 minutes of running faster, and then 2 minutes of recovery, and then 3 minutes of faster, 2 minutes of recovery, and then one more time of that. So once again, the goal with that is to give you a little bit of rest, but also make you push yourself a little bit. So you have a mile of warm up and a mile of cool down, and both of those mile paces are easy for that. So once again, getting your body warmed up and cooling down is important. And that should put you at about 20 miles for this week. for those of you guys who are following this schedule. For groups 2 and 3, it's pretty similar, except you're building up to about 28 miles this week, and 6 miles for your long, slow distance day on Monday is what you should have been doing. 4 miles on Tuesday. Today's workout is similar, a mile warm-up, 2 miles of tempo, a mile cool-down. But once again, you're just trying to do maybe that the pace that's appropriate to where you are in your training. So remember, the main differences between groups 1, groups 2 and 3, and groups 4 and 5 are just the mileage that you have run prior to coming into this virtual run. So if you haven't been running a whole lot, that's where you're in the group 4 and 5. It's not as much about pace. So be more conscious of what your pace is dependent on your where you are in your training. And if you need more specific information from me or one of the other coaches, make sure to reach out to us if you're kind of confused about where you should be. A lot of that came from where your time trial was, for us at least, to get a good sense of where you were. 5 miles easy on Thursday, and 4 miles of aerobic on Friday. And then for Saturday, for you guys, it's a little bit different. You guys have you have a 1 mile warm-up, and then 2 by 800 meters, all right, with a 400-meter jog rest between. And tempo pace, that's pretty much the same sort of pace that you would have run on Wednesday or today. And then 2 by 400 meters. And this one is more at a 5K pace, so 5K race pace. So be thinking about you should feel a faster turnover in your legs for those 400s. And then 200 meters of jogging in between each of those 400s. And then 200 meters times 2 for the final little bit. So it's 2 800s with a little bit of rest, 2 400s with a little bit of rest, and then 2 200s. So it's stepping you down a ladder into some faster but shorter distances. And then you have a mile of cool down after that. So that's going to be about a 5-mile workout on Saturday and then an off day on Sunday. That'll get you at about 28 miles. Finally, for those of you guys in group 1, you guys have, you're up to about 38 miles this week. If you haven't already done so, you have an 8-mile long slow distance day on Monday. These long slow distance day days are important. If you haven't done it yet, like I mentioned earlier in the video, make sure you get it in at some point this week. The long slow distance days really help to push your ability for your body to run further, and they're going to really also help you to run faster for a 5K in the long run. And if you're doing another sport and you're just joining us for the summer virtual run to get in shape for a different sport, that's fine too, because this is also going to help push you to be better for those sports and really increase your aerobic threshold. So 8 miles of long slow distance, 6 miles on Tuesday. You guys have a 3-mile tempo run with a little bit more warm-up, 2 miles of warm-up, 3 miles of tempo, and 1 mile of cool down. With 3 miles of tempo, once again, if you haven't started yet today, really make sure that you take this run. I would suggest moving it to this evening, or take it very carefully if you decide to do it in the middle of the day. 6 miles easy on Thursday, 6 miles of aerobic on Friday, and Saturday's workout, you have a 2-mile warm-up, and the same thing as groups 2 and 3, 2 by 800, 2 by 400, 2 by 200. And your rest in between each of those. You have 400 meters of rest, which is approximately a quarter mile of resting in between each of the 800s. And then you have 200 meters of resting in between the 400s and the 200s. The only difference here is you guys actually have 4 400-meter runs in between these. So a little bit of a longer distance day, but once again, the goal is to try and start building up some of this speed that we're going to be using in season. And then off on Sunday, and that's going to get you at about 38 miles this week. If you guys have any questions about your paces, as always, let me know. But I'm getting really excited. I've been seeing some of your guys posting on Strava. If you haven't joined Strava yet and you want to do that, please reach out to one of the coaches if you haven't found our team page on Strava. Otherwise, make sure you're communicating and submitting your data from the each week to Coach Armin in the link that he sent so that we can keep track of where each of the teams are virtually. Otherwise, guys, really good work so far, and good luck surviving in the heat. I know I've been out on some runs recently, and it is very warm. So thank you, guys. Have a good rest of the day.